Hey Shae gang, Shae babies, Shae viewers, welcome to Shae TV. So I gotta do it this way because I'm gonna be doing a short get ready with me during this story time. Today I'm pretty much gonna get into the last story time that I did about my weight gain and weight loss pretty much and the whole cause of it. So I'm pretty much gonna start from high school. So this is during the birth control episode, but it's pretty much gonna get into how I got addicted to doing certain things, being around certain people. So it pretty much started in high school. I'm gonna go ahead and get into my first acid trip. So my very first acid trip, this girl I befriended, I met her in ROTC. She was the ROTC instructor's daughter. And I really looked up to the guy. So I'm thinking, you know, the daughter's gonna be cool. No. So how I met her, I kept hearing around school that she was sucking the D of a football player or whatever, and the football player recorded it and it went around school. When I met her and she was talking to me and she was like, I'm pretty sure you heard some things about me. And I'm like, the only thing that I really heard is that you were sucking D in the stairwell. And she was like, yeah, that's me. And I was like, what? Like, she just gracefully admitted to it. So I was like, okay, this chick is wild. You know, she's not really a judgy character, so I'm going to go ahead and befriend her. So yada, 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 we start to be friends or whatever. And during the time, I was on and off, you know, dating different females in my friend group. Don't ask me why. I was really weird dating my friends. And she wanted to, you know, talk to me and date me, but, you know, I didn't really feel comfortable with that because of how she carried herself, even in high school. So she went around telling people that we were dating, and it kind of caused a hassle on our friendship. So after that was squashed, you know, we were good. We didn't really have any more problems until the time came to where I realized she started getting jealous. And every time I was about to meet up with a friend or a girlfriend or anything, she'd just intrude, or she'd like make them walk the other way, or she'd make them fully avoid me, or she'd just start drama or mess. So, and I'm thinking, you know, this is high school, so this should be over. This should be over eventually, right? No. So, pretty much, I was going through things at home, which is why I started to do drugs in the first place. And I told her that I wanted something that'll get me like really high, like some really strong weed. So she told me that she had something a little better for me. So I was like, you know, okay, you know, this is my friend, I trust her. So she brought to school this little cardboard tab, and it had like these cartoon pictures on it. And I was just like, what is this? And she was like, it's acid. So, you know, it's my fault too for not, you know, checking what the drug was and what it could do to me and how it could, you know, even affect me in the future. And I didn't. But, you know, she gave it to me instead of giving it to me and telling me what it can do. And she said she did it all the time. So, you know, I trusted in it. It was cool until it wasn't. I took it like at the beginning of the day, the second period of the day, and I was tripping. Like, I was in ROTC. The floor started to come up. People noticed that I was tripping, of course. So, it came down to it to where I was roaming around school, messed up. She was nowhere to be found. Like, of course, the person who gave me the drugs isn't going to be there to babysit me, even if they were my best friend at the time. So that didn't end well. And it ended with my parents finding out like the summer later. So at the beginning of my senior year, my parents found out. And when my mom had to go to the school for a situation that I was in, my mom wasn't really worried about that situation. You know, she was questioning in the office, why did the ROTC instructor's daughter give me acid? So everybody in the office was just like, Gunny has a daughter? It was hilarious. So they came in the office, Gunny and her, and, you know, they were questioning her about it. My mom, you know, she isn't stupid, so she knows that I'm lying. She knows that I'm not. So she knew I wasn't lying about it. When I told her that, you know, Gunny's daughter was the one that gave me the acid, and she, you know, she questioned me about it and I got in trouble. I didn't even really get grounded for it. My parents were just like, what the fuck? Because, you know, that's not me. They were asking her about it and she was just, of course, playing stupid. And she was like, I don't even know what LSD is. I don't know what acid is, etc., etc. So, you know, they eventually gave up, and I'm pretty sure she got in trouble for it. We didn't talk for a while after that. And her dad got mad. My RTC instructor that I looked up to, he got upset because I made it known that she was at the school, and he didn't want nobody to know that his daughter was going to Madison. And at first I didn't know why until I found out it was because she has a really long juvenile record. She was arrested multiple times for possession, marijuana, drink driving, just different things you shouldn't be getting arrested for, and you're not even 18 yet. Stuff she got arrested for when she was 16 and ended up in jail. So, you know, this didn't really click to me at the time that this isn't somebody that I should be around. So that senior year, we started talking again. I can't really remember why or how, but of course we started talking again. And she introduced me to tabs. Tabs are those little Skittle things that have cocaine and ecstasy in it. Wrong. Tabs have way more than cocaine and ecstasy. Go figure. You know, somebody, they're not going to really put all that information on the receipt, but yeah. I didn't know that there was more in tabs, so I started taking them my senior year. I was like 160 at the time, and I took them like every day to do what I needed to do. Pretty much, I feel like if I didn't take them, I wouldn't have graduated. But I took them, and they did a number on me, so I felt like I needed them every day. It really didn't end well. She was pretty much bringing them to school every day because, you know, I wasn't buying them. I didn't know where to get them from, and she always had them, and I felt like it was because she didn't want to take them alone. So, so yeah, I was doing this stuff at school, and this is after the acid. Oop, I messed up. And this is after the acid. So you think, you know, I would learn my lesson, but I didn't. I was still doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing. And in the midst of all this, we're skipping because she always wanted to skip. And I was playing Follow the Leader at the time. We skipped a lot, like to where I failed a class first semester of my senior year, almost did not graduate. And nothing happened with her because, of course, her dad works at the school, so her grades, her record, everything is going to be fixed. It always ended up being fixed. There was some really shady things going on at Madison High School. Senior year got a little messy. Around that time, you know, everybody was figuring out that Gunny had a daughter. There was some problems going on between me and my friend circle because I had dated all of the females in my friend's circle except for one female, and well, besides this other female I'm talking about, but besides this one other female, I didn't talk to her because she was weird. She was just really weird, and she ended up calling me a borderline hoe. At the time, I didn't know that it was her. I'm tired of saying this girl, Rachel. She came to me and she was like, somebody in our friend group said that you're a borderline hoe. And I was like, who? And she wouldn't tell me who it was. And at the time, I didn't realize how toxic that was. Like, how are you going to tell me something, but you're not going to tell me who the fuck said it? Like, I don't know. So, you know, I was talking about it around my friends and nobody was saying anything. And it came down to it to where the girl was in a group chat with all of my other friends. And, you know, she started talking about me. She started talking about me because she said somebody should tell me something because of how I talk to all the females in my friend group, and this is the same female that would go into the woods and have sex with different guys. So shortly after that, I found out it was her the summer after I graduated, and I confronted her, told her I didn't want to be her friend anymore. That was actually junior year, the summer junior year. So the beginning of senior year, when I was getting into that situation, ended up in the office, it was because of all of that. Many times I really did feel like I was being peer pressured for the simple fact of when I didn't want to do something, you know, they made me feel like I didn't belong in the group, or she made me feel like I didn't belong in the friend group. And at the time I felt the need to fit in somewhere, you know, I felt the need to want to be accepted. Rachel, she's always had obsessive behavior with everyone she came into contact with. There was somebody else that she was friends with, and the girl didn't like her either, and the girl would warn me and say that, you know, she's this and she's that, and be careful. You know, she'll do this and talk behind your back and steal from you, and doing my makeup and talking is kind of hard. And I didn't really want to believe it because, you know, I like to see the good in people. And even when I did see the bad in her and everyone else, I always, you know, gave them another chance and hope for the better because I always hope that things could get better. Yeah, going back to that senior year, pretty much, she started talking to my ex. I didn't really have a problem with it because that ex, I didn't really, you know, like her like that. It was a lot of experiments that I was doing in high school with different people. But, you know, she started talking to my ex, and I guess she was hoping that it would make me jealous. But at the time, I was talking to somebody else. After high school, that girl, she went to the army. She came back. Me and the girl ended up talking or whatever, quote unquote talking. And Rachel ended up finding out. And it's like, in a way, she kind of blamed me for it. And, you know, I was like, y'all weren't dating, you know, and I dated her first. Eventually, you know, it was left out the window because the girl left to the military, so she wasn't really here. But after that, me and her were like on and off friendships. The first time we stopped talking is because she stole clothes from me and started going online and making fake profiles of me, stalking me online and in real life because I didn't have a car. She had a car. So I would look up and there's her car and she's speeding off from down the street from where I stay. So it was a really traumatizing situation for me at that time because I was all really new to it. I didn't really know that that's something that she was used to doing. So I tried to keep my distance. I started working security at the time, and she eventually contacted me because she wanted to, of course, be friends again. So, of course, the loving nature in me, I let her back into my life. And, you know, it ends up she starts going live online and allowing strangers to come to her place. And when she started coming to my apartment, strangers would be outside of my apartment. And, you know, I would tell her I'm not okay with that. And they would be outside, like, smoking in the parking lot. And she wouldn't want to take them to her apartment because her place always looked, her place always looked really bad. And she told me she never wanted any visitors to really be there. So I understood. So, you know, after a while, I told her, if you stay in the parking lot, that's fine, as long as nobody bothers me, until it got to another certain point where, you know, we'd be hanging out, and all of a sudden she starts telling me she got into it with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend stole her phone. So we have to go and get her phone. Not we, but she has to go and get her phone from her boyfriend. So when she tries to get the phone from the guy picks her up and body slams her on the concrete. And she still ended up chasing him. And we ended up calling the cops. And I had my friends with me because the kind of guys she hang out with, I classify them as hoodlums. It came down to where the cops were called, and she never got her phone back. And eventually she still ended up talking to him, and he would end up beating her in front of his friends, and I'd just be sitting in the car, and I'd have to grab her and tell her to come in the car, stop letting him beat on you in front of these guys, or in general. And she was like so weak-minded, which didn't make any sense to me, because you come from a good home, you come from a good family, and yet you choose to be a hoodlum. You choose the environment that I was in. Like I said, me having no common sense at the time. I'm not knowing that this is unhealthy. I'm still off of tabs. I did not start Xans, and she was off of Xans the whole time. We almost ran into a whole building. When I say we were at least 5 inches away from running into a building, a fast food building, we were 5 minutes away from running into a fast food building. Yeah, it got to a point to where when she was also with these guys, she'd end up cutting herself really bad. I had to take her to an emergency room one time because she slit literally down her wrist over some guy. She had shaved her head bald, and she told me that her arm went through a glass window, but it was just a straight cut, like as if somebody had, or she had, you know, cut her arm open. So, and you know me, I'm not the one to judge, especially if you really love somebody. But when that person is beating you and I can't understand why you love someone who beats you, at the point to where I can't understand, then to me, there's just no point in keeping the friendship alive. So after a lot of that happened in that situation, I stopped talking to her again. And of course, again, she contacted me again, and I let her back in again. I keep getting up and moving because my baby is up and watching TV. There was also this one time where she did contact me, and she was like, she just got into a car crash. Here, I'm just taking her with me. She just got into a car crash, and nobody was there for her. You know, the one friend that she thought was her friend, nobody was there for her, whatever. So, you know, I was like, I'll be your friend. And, you know, I contacted her. Well, I kept contacting her, and I let her back into my life. She's trying to look at herself. But pretty much after that, everything started going downhill way more. Like, there was red flags everywhere. She moved into some different apartments and she started still doing the same thing, allowing different guys to come through in her apartment, allowing different guys to be around her. And she started messing around with a lot of different guys in this one group that used to sell drugs outside of the gas station. And she would tell me about how she'd get dressed in the shortest clothes and just, you know, go out there and parade herself. And I would tell her, you know, those guys are like, they done did some things. You might not want to do that. She got into one of them, and they ended up beating her up really bad after, you know, she thought that the guy was going to pimp her out and give her half the money, but she wanted more of the money. So he got upset and he beat on her, and she said she didn't want to call the cops or anything, so she just let it go. That day she called me, and she was just like, she's going to cry it out because there's nothing that she can do. And I told her, I was like, you know where these people be, you know where they be posted up at, so you could easily call the cops. But she was just scary and didn't want to because she thought that they were going to retaliate. She had let the guy stay at her apartment, and the guy brought in 2 more females that he was supposed to be pimping out. And one day she said she asked for dog food, and the guy got mad and started hitting on her. What the fuck was I gonna do? I came over, and they were getting their stuff out the apartment, and he started waving the gun around, and he was saying that nobody's gonna do anything, etc. And then he started just pointing the gun at me, and then her, and then me, and then her. And I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck situation did she just put me in? So, because when she asked me to come over, she didn't say, like, they're still here getting their stuff. She was like, you know, I'm scared. I don't want to leave. I don't want to walk out my apartment. I need a friend. So I'm like, okay, bet. I'll be there. You know, I'll help you get through whatever you're going through. You didn't tell me that these people were, you know, still going in and out, and they have actual weapons still with them. That just wasn't in the equation. So after that, I left her alone for a while, and she started talking to some 18, 19-year-old, and She hit me up like 2 months after they started talking because they stopped talking because she kept going through her phone, going through his phone and seeing that they were talking to other females. And she would cut him off and she would go slash her boyfriend's brother's tires because the dude was like 18. He didn't have a fucking car. Keep in mind, she's like 24 and this dude is 18 and she's chasing after him. He has no job. He has no money. He does not have anything. He just lives with her. Her parents pay her bills. She doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't have to worry about anything. She gets money from her parents. So he eats off of that and he uses her for that. So, and each time that I would tell her that each dude is using her, each guy is using her, they would get mad and try and fight me. Each and every one. They would get mad and try and fight me because I'm making it known to her, or because she's making it known to them, or she's just dry telling them, like, my friend is saying this and this and this and this and that about you guys. So she would always come back and be like, yeah, they want to fight you. He want to fight you now because this and that much. And he said he's going to get his sister to fight you because you said this about me. And I'm like, Rachel, why are you going back and telling these guys that I'm saying this and that? I'm telling you for your benefit so you can leave them alone, not so you can go back and say, oh, well, my friend said that you're doing this to me. Is this true? Like, you would think a female would be smart enough to know, you know, but most, they don't really know when they're getting played. But at the level that she was getting played at, I was just surprised that I was her friend for so long. All of a sudden, she's been dating this guy for like the past few years and she wants to rap too. So she would try and rap around me and I would just die laughing because it was just the funniest thing ever. Keep in mind, this whole time, all of these years that I've known her, she's off Xans every single day. And when she couldn't get Xans, she'd get Oxy, she'd get Hydro, she'd find something to get her high as hell. So, it came down to a point to where eventually, I want to say a year ago, like I said in my last vlog, that I did start taking Xans with her, but I was not on that level. She literally knocked out everywhere. Everywhere we went, she'd knock out. Every time we went out, she couldn't even have one drink before she's over the toilet gagging and throwing up. And I'm trying to help her and hold her hand, you know, be the good friend that I try to be. And the whole time, you know, she's like sneak dissing me, trying to one-up me, trying to hate on me, everything. And I'm like, this one person that I befriended, that I'm trying to give the best advice to, you know, I'm trying to put on to everything. And she's just straight sneak dissing me all the time. So, yeah, so she's been wanting to rap. At first it was modeling, and it was because I started modeling. When I started modeling and dancing, all of a sudden she wanted to start modeling and dancing. So I started modeling when I was probably a little younger. And she probably only did like 1 or 2 photo shoots. Yeah, 1. And she did it with my photographer. She, when we weren't talking, she contacted him to do a photo shoot, and it was just the ugliest thing that I've ever seen. So back and fast forward to when I started doing Xans with her. I think that's when I started noticing things was getting a little weird. Like, she started popping up at my apartment all throughout the night, off acid, off of anything. But acid was the main one because she'd show up looking like a crackhead, just like really jittery, beating at my door at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. Keep in mind, I'm asleep. Like, who is gonna open the door at 3 o'clock in the morning? So, but I did, because she'd sit there for like 30 minutes beating on the fucking door. So I would open the door and she's crying because some guy, you know, beat on her again. And she would have all these bruises on her arms and shit, and saying that she loved him, or saying that she's done and she's never going to talk to him again. And then she goes back and talks to him. So at this point, I'm like really tired. You know, I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. I don't want to deal with this friendship anymore. So I cut her off for a bit and I keep her at a distance. And, you know, I keep my other friends around, and she starts to get upset because she's all like, she doesn't want to meet any of my other friends, or she's uncomfortable around my other friends. And I'm like, they don't have any issue towards you. They don't have any animosity towards you. But yet she's talking about them constantly as if they do something to her, or if they did anything to her. But she was just really jealous because she wanted me to be her only friend. Like, she was really obsessive. And that was with every female guy that she has ever encountered. She gets really obsessive. Say it was at the beginning of 2020. She burped. And I met this girl, and we were having drinks or whatever, and then the girl tried to take me. Well, I invited Rachel and one of my other friends. The girl tried to take us to some backdoor old people club, and I didn't want to go, so I said something. So she got upset and she threw me out of her car. So Rachel and the other girl I invited, they got out too, and I wanted to fight her. I was mad. I was so mad because she got upset because I said something. Like, I said I didn't want to go to the club, and she was like, well, why didn't you say anything? And I'm like, the girl was messed up. We were all like, especially she was messed up. We find out that the girl's plug is also Rachel's plug. So I told Rachel respectfully, I was like, I don't want that guy dropping you off at my apartment. I don't want him to know where I stay, because there was a lot of beef between me and the girl and her plug was apparently actually really close. So she still brung the guy around my apartment, and, you know, come to find out that the guy was more friends with the other girl who threw us out of her car than Rachel, because he would, you know, put her first. So Rachel got upset, and, you know, she was going back to him saying things that I said, and the guy ended up wanting to fight me over it. So she would come back in my apartment. Like, it happened multiple times. This is probably like the 4th time that there was a guy that wanted to fight me because something that Rachel went back and told him. So the guy ended up trying to, well, he pimped her to where she would come in and she would start showing me money and pictures of hotels that she was at, because he was setting her up with random guys on random websites and he was pimping her out. So this is probably like the 2nd time she's getting pimped out. So she's telling me she gets $200 for each guy and she gets half. So she was really getting $100 for each guy. And by each guy, you know what I mean. She was 304. So, and at this point, she was still like, after she was done, she'd come over to my apartment. And at the time, I didn't know what she was doing. I didn't know what she was doing. I thought she was just hanging out with the guy. And so she came in and told me when she was really messed up one day. And she came in and, you know, she was showing me money, the websites and all this other stuff, saying I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I was just like, Rachel, is this safe? Like, should you really be doing this? You know, because one of them could follow you. One of them could try and contact you. You texting them from your phone. You sending them pictures of your body, people you don't even know, videos. This could end up on the internet forever. But she didn't care, and she just felt like getting pimped was the best way to go. And I could tell her it's not, being independent. And it got to a point to where she started going off when she was going live. Yeah, she started going off, and one of my friends sent me the video because she was talking a lot. This is how the beef started. We were fine. She had just left my apartment, and I didn't really watch her lives until one of my friends contacted me, and they was like, "Are you on Rachel Good?" And I was like, "Why?" And she was like, "Because she's on live right now talking about you, about how she didn't tell anybody your business or tell anybody this and that much." So I go in there, and she's so fucked up. She didn't even see me go in there, and she was actually talking about me. So I screen recorded it and I sent it to her, and I'm like, "You so high off them bars, you don't even know what you're saying right now. Like, you so messed up." So I was like, "Fuck that, you know, that's done and over with." So all of that was going on. She was on there threatening me with guns and everything, saying she was going to come for me, yada, yada, yada. But she doesn't have real guns. Yeah, she doesn't have real guns. Just like pellet guns or airsoft guns or some shit. And it was just really funny to me because she was also crying because she thought I was going to come for her. She thought I was going to come for her. And it's because she was scary. She's scared of everybody. Down to the point to where, you know, I just blocked her from everything. I didn't contact her anymore. But of course, what she does, she contacts me. And what do? Talk to her back like a dumbass. So she came back and she's on the same shit, and you know, she's with the same 18-year-old. I think the guy was 19 at the time, and now that guy is abusing her. She's letting a 19-year-old abuse her, and this was last year. No, it's 2022 now, so it was in 2020. So it was about a year ago. She's letting a teenager beat up on her, and it was just getting really weird for me. So I think at that time we were talking, it was Gucci, until I got pregnant at the beginning of 2021. And all of a sudden, you know, she had an attitude problem. Like, we always talked about like how I wanted to get pregnant, and of course she wanted to get pregnant. Like, every single thing that I wanted to do, all of a sudden she wanted to do it. So we used to always talk about it. And after I told her, she got an attitude and she didn't really text me. So like 3 mornings later, I get like a bunch of eggs thrown at my door, and it was like 3 in the morning, and I just heard like a kick, like a loud thump and a kick, but I didn't get up to check on it. And I go downstairs and there's a bunch of eggs on my door, and she was texting me talking shit like throughout the night, and I could tell she was drunk because of her messages, or she was high because of her messages. And it was like she was just like really upset that I was pregnant. And also keep in fact that the whole time, the past few years, she always tried to talk to me. You know, I always told her I would never consider you as anything more than a friend, because you're barely a friend until, you know, you change yourself, you change how you even view yourself and how you carry yourself. Because she carries herself really, really bad. And I slipped into that cycle of being comfortable. You know, you can walk around and be comfortable, but it's different when you don't shower, you don't do your hair, you don't care about washing your face, you know, putting on deodorant, the simple things, buying new underwear, the simple things. So it all makes sense as to why she'd steal my clothes, why, you know, she depend on guys, why she depend on me, you know, to be there for her, because she felt like she had nobody. So, you know, me, I'm the type of person that gives chance after chance after chance after chance. And after a while, I just didn't want to give any more chances. So when I was pregnant, while I was pregnant last year, she contacted me again. And I need that want to tell me straight to my face if they want to fight me. Because I'm the type of bitch where I'm not going to tell. Okay, if you guys know me, I don't fight. If you know people that don't fight, we're not going to sit there and we're going to tell somebody, let's fight. We're just going to pop you. And that's why, like, when I was around her, when she said that shit to me, I was like, okay. Okay, and then she was like, what you on? I'm like, a Zan. I want you to think I'm slow. I let people think I'm slow. Just because I'm on a Zan don't mean I won't pop you. And just because I'm on anything else don't mean I'm not.
I just don't like how somebody came at me some type of way for no fucking reason. And I ain't come out to you and say, oh, you be annoying, you be going back to these niggas.
So I can't say that I wish somebody would have told me, because a lot of people really did tell me. I just hope that, you know, other people like my daughter can see this one day and hear those same signs and signals and red flags. There's a red flag. If they don't eat vegetables, that's a red flag. They don't wear deodorant, that's a red flag. They don't want to keep up with their hair, clothes, appearance, body, BO, red flag. They depend on a man for everything. Sis, that's a red flag. So just point blank, don't even keep people like that at a distance. You gotta fully cut people like that off. And ever since I did, I still get stalked. I still get random calls, random messages, stuff like that. You know, so it is what it is. I am definitely happy where I am now, and I feel like if I didn't go through a lot of that, I would be in a way better place.
I can't believe I really gotta do this shit, bro.
I'm a lot stronger.
Do this shit, bro.
I'm a lot stronger than I was, you know, a couple years ago. So stay tuned for some more story times, and I will get back with you guys, me and JoJo. Bye, Shae Gang. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
My door. Bro, what the fuck?